Who's ready to go shopping? All right, I know that I have painted such an awesome picture of North Georgia and living in North Georgia that you're ready to go see houses immediately, right? All right, so over the next couple of videos, we are going to talk about the buyer roadmap. We're going to do a couple of videos talking about every single step we need to take to make sure your experience is the best possible experience during the home buying process. Hey everybody, my name is Tim Gibson and my channel is all about buying and selling and investing in real estate in North Georgia. And if you are thinking about moving to the area, please reach out. My contact info is on the screen right here. So after getting tons of phone calls and text messages and emails, I thought it would be a really good idea to go ahead and give you the process that it would take to make a purchase in North Georgia. So what we're going to do is we are going to show you every single step you need to take and I need to take to make sure that your experience is the best possible experience moving to North Georgia. You're probably going to laugh at me, but step one is to schedule a visit to North Georgia. You might be thinking, well, thanks a lot for the info, Captain Obvious. I know I need to visit North Georgia first. I know I've painted such an awesome picture of living in North Georgia and you're ready to start shopping for houses right away. And that might be the case, but I think it would be great for you to visit North Georgia first because a lot of you are coming from bigger towns, larger subdivisions, larger suburbs, and you might be surprised or maybe you have a little bit of culture shock about how small North Georgia is. So I'd recommend taking an exploratory trip to North Georgia, visiting some of the towns that you're interested in, and sometimes people think they're interested in a certain town, but then they go visit some others and they go, wow, I like this one a whole lot better than the one I thought I was interested in at first. So if you're able to make a trip over the course of a weekend, you could probably see about 6 or 7 towns because they're about 30 minutes to an hour apart from each other. So if you schedule a tight road trip with a lot of visits, you can explore a lot of North Georgia in one weekend. Also during this time in your exploratory visit, I like to set up a face-to-face meeting with some of my clients from YouTube that are coming in town. This is a great way for us to just meet in person. I can get a little bit more information from you and see how I can best help you in your journey to North Georgia. And of course, if your timeline is very tight or if you've already visited the area and you already know where you want to live, we could of course skip this step. Okay, so now that you have maybe decided where you want to live, you've explored and you say, okay, well, I want to pick this town to live in, you're ready to start looking at houses, right? Well, not quite. Step 2 is to set up your financing. So why is that important? Great question. The bottom line for this step is for you to understand, for me to understand what your budget is and what you can afford depending on whatever area you choose. All right, so during this second step, I'm gonna ask you a couple of very important questions. Number 1 is, will you be selling your house or will you need to sell your house to make your purchase in North Georgia? All right, so if you're selling your house first to make your purchase in Georgia, you'll need to write what's called a contingent offer. And with a contingent offer, you're telling the seller in Georgia, hey, I got to sell my house to make the purchase up here in Georgia. Now, the best way to get your offer accepted, if you have a contingent offer in Georgia, is to have your current house listed and under contract. That way, you are wiping away a couple of hurdles for the seller to overcome to get their house closed. All right, next question in step 2 is, how will you be financing your purchase? If you're making a purchase in North Georgia with cash, then you will need what's called proof of funds. Basically, any bank or financial institution can write you a letter on company letterhead that states, my client has accounts at our institution and they have finances in excess of, whatever amount. And all we need to do is show the seller of the house in Georgia that you have the funds, the cash funds or the liquid funds to be able to make the purchase. You don't have to put an exact amount. You don't really have to put a whole lot of information. You just need to show that you have the ability to pay in cash. All right, so if you're using a mortgage to make your purchase, you're gonna need to get a pre-approval letter from your lender. If you have a lender that you work with and you feel comfortable with them, that's great, you can use your lender. Or if you need a referral to a local lender, I've got plenty of those and I'd be happy to share those with you. And what they're gonna do is they're gonna do a basic check on your credit. They're gonna ask a couple questions about your finances. You're gonna submit an application to that lender. And based on the information that you give them, they will give you a pre-approval letter for a certain amount. This will set our budget and inform me on the right houses to set up in your search criteria to make sure that we're looking at the right houses. Now, you might be thinking, well, you're asking for a whole lot of financial information and this is ridiculous. I just want to go see some houses. Look, I understand. I love shopping as much as the next person, right? But this is a very important step. If we don't set this up first on the front end, then our expectations might not be in the right place. So I will give you an example of a scenario that I've come across a lot of times over the years I've been selling real estate. I get a call and someone says, hey, I want to go see this house. Let's say it's $500,000. And I say, okay, well, cool. Like, is your budget around $500,000? And they'll say, oh yeah, it's probably $500,000 or $600,000, you know, somewhere in there. I'm like, okay, cool. So we go see this $500,000 house, and then my clients love it, and we're ready to write an offer, but we don't have our pre-approval letter yet. So now we got to go back to the lender and say, hey, can we get approved for this $500,000 house? And the buyer submits the application, and then they get their credit check and all this stuff. And then for some reason, maybe something pops up and they're approved for less than what they originally imagined. So instead of $500,000, now they get pre-approved for, let's say, $425,000. And so the house that we got to see, their expectations are set a little higher, and they love this house. So now we're looking at the $425,000 houses. They're feeling a little bit disappointed and let down because they can't qualify for the $500,000 house. So that's just a quick example to show you why it's so important to get your finances ready and set before we go see houses, so that we've got our expectations set and we're ready to go. Now that we've got your area defined and we got your finances set, we are ready to go see houses, right? Well, not quite. I know what you're thinking. Boo, this guy sucks. Get him off the screen. All right, I know. It seems like a lot, and it seems like I'm asking you to do all this stuff just to go see houses, right? Well, there's one more important step that we have got to get taken care of before we go see houses, and I will put that in the next video. All right, look. I know nobody likes cliffhangers, and I don't like them either, but what we need to do is we need to talk about a very important step, so that's where we're going to put it at the top of the next video. All right, tell me what you thought about the video. I know it's a lot of content, I know it's a lot of information, but I want to make sure that I give you all the accurate information to make sure your experience is great. As always, my contact is right here on the screen. If you're thinking about moving to North Georgia, or if you're just curious about the area, just please reach out. I'd be happy to help. See you on the next video.